Privacy has always been one of those things people talk about but rarely truly understand until it's already gone. And in the digital world, the operating system you use quietly defines how much of your life is exposed, tracked, stored, or even sold. Most people assume that privacy is about using incognito mode or installing a VPN. But the truth is far deeper than that, because the operating system itself sits at the very core of everything you do, controlling how data is handled, how apps behave, and who ultimately has access to your information. Over the years, a handful of operating systems have been built with one goal in mind: to protect users from surveillance, tracking, and data exploitation at a fundamental level, and some of them go so far that they completely rethink how computing should even work. When you first look at mainstream systems, it becomes clear why privacy-focused alternatives exist at all. Most modern operating systems are deeply integrated with online services, telemetry systems, and cloud-based features that continuously send data back to corporations. This isn't always malicious, but it does create a system where your usage patterns, preferences, and sometimes even sensitive data are constantly being analyzed. That's where private operating systems step in, offering a completely different philosophy where the user is in control, data collection is minimized or eliminated, and transparency is a core principle. One of the most fascinating aspects of private operating systems is how differently they approach trust. Instead of asking you to trust a company, they rely on open source code, reproducibility, and community auditing. This means that anyone can inspect the system, verify its behavior, and ensure that there are no hidden backdoors or trackers. It's a radical shift from the black box nature of mainstream platforms, and it fundamentally changes the relationship between the user and the software. Take, for example, systems designed to leave absolutely no trace behind. These operating systems run entirely in memory, meaning that once you shut down your computer, everything is wiped clean. No logs, no cached files, no browsing history left on the machine. This approach is particularly useful for journalists, activists, or anyone operating in high-risk environments where even a small piece of stored data could be dangerous. The idea here is simple but powerful. If nothing is stored, nothing can be stolen or discovered later. Then there are systems that focus heavily on compartmentalization, isolating every application and task into its own secure environment. In these systems, even if one app is compromised, it cannot access data from another app or the core system. This drastically reduces the risk of widespread breaches and creates a layered defense mechanism that is incredibly difficult to penetrate. It's like having multiple locked rooms inside your computer, each with its own key and no single point of failure that could expose everything at once. Another major approach to privacy is minimizing the attack surface. Some operating systems are built to include only the absolute essentials, removing unnecessary features, services, and background processes that could be exploited. This not only improves security but also ensures that there are fewer opportunities for data leakage. By stripping the system down to its core components, developers can maintain tighter control and reduce complexity, which is often the enemy of security. Encryption plays a massive role in these systems as well, but not just in the way most people think. It's not just about encrypting your files or your internet connection, but about encrypting everything by default. From storage to communication between system components, encryption is deeply integrated into the architecture. Some systems even go a step further by routing all internet traffic through anonymizing networks, making it extremely difficult to trace user activity back to its source. Interestingly, usability is often the biggest challenge for these privacy-focused systems. The more secure and private a system becomes, the more it tends to sacrifice convenience. Features that people take for granted, like automatic updates, app stores, or seamless cloud syncing, can become more complicated or even unavailable. This creates a trade-off that users must consider, deciding how much convenience they are willing to give up in exchange for greater control and privacy. Despite these challenges, the demand for private operating systems has been steadily growing. As awareness of digital surveillance increases, more people are beginning to question the systems they use every day. Data breaches, targeted advertising, and government surveillance programs have all contributed to a shift in mindset, where privacy is no longer seen as optional but as essential. Another interesting trend is the rise of mobile privacy-focused operating systems. Smartphones are arguably the most personal devices we own, containing everything from our messages and photos to our location history and financial information. Traditional mobile operating systems are heavily tied to ecosystems that prioritize data collection, but alternative systems aim to break free from that model. By removing proprietary services, restricting app permissions, and giving users full control over their data, these systems offer a level of privacy that is difficult to achieve on mainstream platforms. What makes these systems even more compelling is the community behind them. Unlike commercial operating systems driven by profit, many privacy-focused systems are developed by passionate individuals and organizations dedicated to digital freedom. This creates a culture of transparency and collaboration, where users are not just consumers but active participants in the development process. Bugs are reported and fixed openly, features are discussed publicly, and decisions are often made with the community's input. Of course, no system is perfect, and privacy-focused operating systems are no exception. They require a certain level of technical understanding, and mistakes in configuration can sometimes compromise their effectiveness. Additionally, the lack of mainstream support means that compatibility with certain hardware or software can be limited. However, for those willing to learn and adapt, the benefits can be significant. One of the most powerful ideas behind these systems is the concept of digital sovereignty. This means having full control over your digital life, without relying on corporations or external entities to manage your data. It's about owning your information, deciding who can access it, and ensuring that it is not used against you. In a world where data is often referred to as the new oil, this level of control is incredibly valuable. As technology continues to evolve, the importance of privacy will only increase. Artificial intelligence, big data, and interconnected devices are creating a landscape where vast amounts of information are constantly being generated and analyzed. Without proper safeguards, this could lead to unprecedented levels of surveillance and control. Private operating systems represent a counterbalance to this trend, offering a way to reclaim control and protect individual freedoms. What's truly remarkable is how these systems challenge the status quo. They prove that it's possible to build technology that respects users instead of exploiting them. They show that privacy and functionality are not mutually exclusive, even if achieving both requires careful design and thoughtful compromises. And perhaps most importantly, they remind us that we have a choice in how we interact with technology. For content creators, developers, and everyday users alike, understanding these systems can be eye-opening. It shifts the perspective from passive usage to active awareness, encouraging people to think critically about the tools they rely on. It's not just about switching to a different operating system, but about adopting a mindset that prioritizes privacy and security in every aspect of digital life. In many ways, the existence of these operating systems is a form of resistance against a growing culture of surveillance. They empower individuals to take control, to protect themselves, and to operate outside of systems designed to monitor and monetize their behavior. This is not just a technical achievement, but a philosophical one, redefining what technology should be and who it should serve. As more people begin to explore these alternatives, the landscape of computing could shift in unexpected ways. Mainstream systems may be forced to adopt more privacy-friendly practices. Competition could drive innovation, and users could gain more leverage in demanding transparency and control. The ripple effects of this movement are already being felt, and they have the potential to reshape the future of technology. Ultimately, the most private operating systems ever made are not just about hiding from the world, but about creating a space where users can operate freely, securely, and without fear of being watched. They represent a vision of technology that puts people first, where privacy is not a feature but a foundation. And in a time where digital privacy is increasingly under threat, that vision has never been more important.